Grass basket. My First Nations family, my brothers and sisters of soul. This human circle is a grass basket that long ago fell into a vortex called forgetting and lost its truth, lost its essential weaving, and the grass strands came loose, and the human circle went wandering away from the fire at the center, the only place where the light is bright enough for us to peer across and see each other for who we truly are. My grandfather, Chief Seattle, spoke to us of who we are when his clear voice said, "Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but a strand in the web. What we do to the web, we do to ourselves." And now the sky grows dark and we grow more forgetful. But the air is colder and children are being lost in the wilderness of a sickness that came here and said, "You are less than human." A sickness that grew as sickness does inside all those exposed to it, until tribal children were whispering to themselves as they climbed the ladder to adulthood, "I am less than human." And now we have no choice, for the grass basket is so unwoven it can no longer hold healthy water, and the night air has grown so cold we are forced to come back to the fire, so that as we thaw the chill of illusion away, the illusion that says we are separate strands in separate webs, living lives that do not touch each other anywhere. As we melt this illusion away and begin to see ourselves clearly again in the light of fire, the fire of truth and courage, and speaking truth and drinking courage. As we do this one dance we all avoid, we arrive at an unseen place that cannot be measured or altered by science and data and forms and longitudinal study and focus groups and steering groups and rollouts and RFPs and funding streams and all other foreign herds of bison and muskox running with all their brawn toward a tall cliff. No, instead, in our dance of destiny, we arrive at an unseen place called reckoning, where we finally put down our armament of anger and disrobe from our status and stature and throw off our masks of composure and stare at each other the way the old ones cared enough to stare at each other. And we say, "Here I am, this is me, and my heart is hurting, and my spirit daily keeps deserting, and here in my palm is my pain, and here on my tongue is my story. I am tired of this tirade and torture, this endless season of treason against our young. I surrender now to the force of life and muster faith that its greatness will suffice." I remember my grandfather, Chief Crow, and his words of silence that said, "In you are natural powers. You already possess everything necessary to become great. And so I give up to you, colleague to colleague, advocate to advocate, human to human. I give up to you the naked truth of me, and trust that you will do the same. Trust that in our humbled state, knees in the cold clay of transformation, we will find a compassionate fate that takes our frayed grass strands and in its divine hands weaves us back together again, so that we can become a grass basket that holds healthy water for the collective son and the collective daughter. You see before you a man. The truth is I stand a man ghost of the child I was, born from mother womb straight into the system, that long parade of paperwork that strains to make a childhood work. And that child spirit inside my being looks out through the window in this chest and sees our children walking over thin and melting ice, rowing seal boats that leak, sleeping on empty stomachs of soul, waking with thirsty throats of spirit, looking with wide young eyes across the valleys like prey birds dying to spot a meal of sustenance, dying to locate a grown man or woman who will stand in the cold wind and the long night with a strong torch and words that soothe and a heart that cares enough to bleed into a river of courage that the children can walk beside, big hand holding small hand until small hand reaches the meadow where the ground does not shake and the trees do not fall and the sky does not split, and that tender child heart can slow its drum, for peace is come. Peace is come. You are that drum. You in your determination to look inside your archival self and lose the paperwork deep in your soul that since birth has transcribed this world and all its illusions. You in your determination to take stock, self-assess, recognize, acknowledge, process, purify, excavate, eradicate all the false files, filling up the soul space where you could have love, flowing freely like an Alaskan waterfall into an Alaskan sea. You who knows that when you spear a whale, you feed family upon family for week upon week. But when you spear the truth of disparity, the truth of why these children pour like a violent hemorrhage into the basin of displacement and despair, when you spear the truth of this, you feed generations with the breaking of dysfunction's calloused and calcified cycle. When you speak the truth, dare the truth, share the truth, honor the truth, you break the cycle. And the cycle must break now, for our ancestors grow weary. Two great ones meet on the dust road. Geronimo asks, "What is in your heart?" Chief Joseph answers, "I will fight no more forever." There is no other medicine for this breaking of the ancient cycle of truth, this ancient cycle. But truth reckoning is the only medicine. And it is you today who fills your drum with medicine and pours from a deep well of compassion filled by sun. You in your determination to sing again today and sit at this long table in this long house and stare through the fire at your kindred strands of grass and see them, truly see them. You in the blood you bleed today, you in the breath of compassion you breathe out today, you in your stance of warriorhood, standing fast and rooted against the hordes of fear that would have you run away from this work, this task, this ancestral assignment to cure your circle. You in your flowering of light, your epiphany of soul, your surrender to love so that your old wounds can finally heal and your old trauma can finally feel that it has a purpose to serve, a purpose like salt curing slabs of pain into a meal of motive, a river of reason to serve these children, these families, this community, this tribe, this First Nation, this humanity. Serve it all in the spirit of the mountains that rise and the trees that grow and the rains that fall and the sun that shines, and the moon that glows, which is to say, the spirit that lives, the spirit that lives. You, because on this day, you choose to truly open your soul doors to fresh air of healing and harmony. Because you choose to live, you take your moth state of heart and metamorphose that flower into a beautiful butterfly heart of servitude, one not afraid to feel and endure the raw pain of reality that comes from dipping our spirit in the cold water of what is authentic and drowning there, never again walking in rhetoric or going through the motions of making change, but never pulling up the persistent roots of illness necessary before tasting change. You, butterfly heart, who fills the sky with the colors of beauty, coming home to the fire and the circle and finding that peace has come. You are that drum, because on this day you choose to live. Soon the sun will rise, its face of light a glacier of heat, burying the sky in the hum of hope, blistering away the old wounds and the old ones who walked here before, walked this vast and silent tribal territory. This night, the old ones will sleep a deep sleep, painted in smiles and reassured heart, knowing that their long weeping children now walk an unmistakable road to wholeness, a road of free crystal rivers called healing that falls like water into the lagoon of promise, that spills into the bay of destiny, where seabirds draft the winds, and a people gather to shed their skins of woundedness and barter their dreams for priceless coins of beautiful moments, where a people gather to share their drink of story and pass around the fire their meal of story and dance their light and love deep into the earth of story, where a people gather not needing mismatched intervention or foreign medicine or desperate formal measures, for they live now in the valley of their heritage and all its treasures, untarnished by a dehumanizing cultural cloth, unstolen, unmuted, unrevoked, fully cloaked in its essential weathers of broad sky above and at the knee, children growing swiftly into tall pines to keep the circle whole and thriving. Spirit speaks these things through our sacred circle of grass basket today. Soon we will hold healthy water and never let it go again. This is what we live. This is what we serve. This is what we pray. Aho.